Hello, happy Monday morning, and welcome to the second week of Magazining the Seventh. So this week, I'm going to be going through the Game Informer issue 185. That will be the September 2008 edition. So we'll switch right over to that, and let's get into it. So this is going to be uh, I'm a little confused about why in September they're talking about E3 still, unless it just oh, well, I don't know. I don't know exactly which. Maybe it is just a couple months after the fact, so they're just kind of getting into it. But anyway, it does seem like the big thing here is obviously Batman Arkham Asylum, which is one of the best games of the generation. I haven't played it yet. I am so excited to get back to replay it again. I'm not sure how high it's going to be on the list, but I do anticipate it to be very high. So I'm kind of excited to kind of read about this preview as well and just kind of see what they have to say. So, Brothers in Arms, Hell's Highway. I mean, obviously this is an ad. I played this. I enjoyed it. I look forward to replaying it again for this for ranking the seventh. Rise of Argonauts. I think I own this. I can't remember. I'll have to look, but I might own this on Xbox or somewhere. I can't remember at this point. I have never played it. This is Mercs 2, I assume. Yeah, it doesn't quite line up the way you'd want it, unfortunately. But yeah, this has to be Mercs. Yeah, Mercs 2. I'm clearly just blind. It says it right in the middle. I haven't played Mercs 2 either. I think I own that one as well. This is just a table of contents. I don't really care to kind of go through this. What a bizarre ad. What an absolutely bizarre ad. Want a body that rocks? Like, sure. Okay. I don't know. Oh, TNA Impact. Okay. That's a wrestling game. I will have to check this out at some point. I do remember hearing good things about the game. The bigger issue is just TNA just didn't have like the bigger names at the time, but I do think this game is probably better than the WWE games. Okay, so here's the first time we're actually gonna like here we'll actually kind of get into reading some stuff. Um, so this is just a little uh tidbits tidbit about the staff. I don't know if I'm going to read all of the staff because it does like just kind of glancing through it doesn't seem like they have anything too much to say. I guess I could, but I don't know if I really care. But it does seem like Andy Mack has written a little bit here, so let's see what Andy Mack has to say. It is hard to believe, but the hottest term in the video game industry is one generally affiliated with the clothing options that corporate headquarters let their employees wear on Fridays. No, it's not interactivity or ingenuity as it should be. It's casual. In the games business, casual caters to a new type of gamer that plays Cooking Mama, The Sims, or Bejeweled. This sector in the video game market is growing in leaps and bounds. The annoying part about how the new casual craze is presented is that it completely ignores the supposed hardcore gamer. Oh shit. Uh Okay. A market sector for the industry apparently seems to think has reached its saturation point. All three hardware manufacturers made a special point to address the casual gamer at this year's E3 Media and Business Summit. Nintendo went as far as to basically ignore the hardcore gamer altogether, but I'll address that in another letter. The thing that drives me crazy in this casual crush, as I like to call it, is the misconception that this new business was created in a vacuum, that the hardcore gamer has nothing to do with it and we don't play these games. This is the biggest bunch of them. This is the biggest bunch of malarkey I've ever heard. Just because a game doesn't have a $30 million a 30 mil $30 million bid budget. Oh my God. I need to start over. Just because a game doesn't have a $30 million budget or fall into a traditional game genre doesn't mean that a gamer, hardcore or not, won't understand that good games are good games. Brain Age isn't just some casual game. It isn't successful because it's casual. It's successful because it's a good game, nothing more. Who would have thought good games sell? The casual tag or hardcore tag, for that matter, is just a silly marketing term that the industry uses to make itself seem capable of reaching more people. Where did I capable of reaching more people? But the fact of the matter is that the games are selling to more people because games have much more reach than ever before, and developers get better at their craft with each passing moment. The industry would be wise not to forget that all gamers matter. There are more casual gamers because there are more people engaged in the medium. The industry is growing and more people are playing games than ever before, but the lifeblood of all the success comes from the people who are the beating heart of the industry. I'd call you hardcore if you're reading this letter, but the hardcore label is as stupid as the people who believe that casual gaming is something new or different. It's the same as it ever was. Good games rise to the top, and gamers, no matter who you are, what demographic you fit, or age that appears on your driver's license, love the thrill of great gaming. Cheers. Yeah, I mean, like, ultimately, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I agree, Andy. The stupid tag of casual and hardcore, it's just marketing. So, what is this? Okay, it's just Intel. GameSpy. Candid photos from the seedy underbelly of the video game industry. Okay. Picture one is over here. Eidos, Stanley Fawn is dazzled by the sights of swinging London. So, looks like someone at Eidos fell asleep. Two, if you think Gears of War and Borderlands are hot, wait until you see the deals we have on the late model Corollas. Oh, is this yeah, that's Randy Pitchford. Okay. Yep, Gearbox's Randy Pitchford and Epic's Mark Rain put the hard sell on Bethesda's E3 party. 3. That's Andy Mack. Andy grills and chills with Capcom's Melody Pfeiffer and plugged in PR's Heather Sorenson's. Okay. 4. Legendary rockers The Who leave LA's Orpheum Theater a smoldering ruin after an amazing 2-hour set during MTV's Rock Band's Party. Yeah, I remember hearing about that on podcasts, that the Who just showed up and they just put on like an actual real show, and it was fantastic. 5. Reiner and Joe hang out with gaming journalist Doug Perry and Marvel's Chris Baker. That's down here. 6. Brian gets the inside scoop on all the things id from Todd Hollenshed and Activision's Paul Murphy. We're at 6. Yeah, that's this one. 6 is right there. Okay. 7. Megan hangs with the folks at Treyarch currently working on Quantum Solace. Right here. And 8, Matt Burt shows off his Pogues t-shirt to Sony's Jennifer Clark. Okay. Exciting stuff. Pure. I haven't played Pure. I don't know a lot about Pure. Dear GI. Ooh, I do like these. I enjoy these. So let's get into what the users or readers have to say. Staying solid. I just beat Metal Gear Solid 4, and while I love Solid Snake's plot arc, I still feel as if there are stories that need to be finished. It would be great to play as Liquid during Shadow Moses and see through his eyes, or use Ocelot to tie up loose ends after Operation Snake Eater. Do you think Hideo Kojima will ever make another Metal Gear game to include these threads? Anonymous via AOL.com. Wow. GI. Metal Gear Solid 4 is the end of Solid Snake story, but according to Konami, it is not the end of Metal Gear as a franchise. We wouldn't be surprised to see future installments mine the fertile ground of the Cold War era, or even deal with more recent events like Raiden rescuing Sonny from the Patriots. It's safe to say that Metal Gear will continue, but series creator Hideo Kojima involvement is more of an unknown. Kojima has expressed a desire to move on to other projects. He initially wasn't even going to head up the development of MGS4. We'll just have to wait. We'll just have to wait to see what form the franchise takes from here and under whose direction. That is BS that he wasn't going to work on 4. Okay. I'm just trying to get an idea of how. Okay. Overdone. I think you made a mistake with your Sacred Cow barbecue in issue 183. I understand why you'd bash Half-Life and Gran Turismo, but Smash Brothers? What's that? What's with that? Sure, it doesn't take as much skill as Halo 3, but I don't really think I could ever be beaten by a 6-year-old. Yeah, items give unfair advantages, but that's where the skill comes in. When your enemy gets a smash ball, you've got to be good or else. But yeah, I agree that people like Rob, Ice Climbers, and King Dedede need to be caught. Still, it was pretty unnecessary to burn the game so much. It was so much fun. Pete Summers via Gmail. Sure, Pete. Your Sacred Cow barbecue was absolutely uncalled for and unacceptable. In all honesty, what is the point of taking beloved gaming titles and publishing flat out blasphemous lies about them? Everything you wrote about them couldn't be any further from the truth. I will never read, purchase, subscribe, or recommend your magazines ever again. I have zero respect for you now. It is the same as the editors of a sports magazine arbitrarily bashing the best teams in history. It is horribly unprofessional, ignorant, and inexcusable. John Satterwhite via Hotmail. Oof. John, bringing the heat. I've never written to a magazine before, but your hating on the Gran Turismo series and the Sacred Cow barbecue cannot go unanswered. I need to read this fucking. Anyway, yes, it has a few flaws like the absence of damage, but I can't let that one slide considering I've never lost to someone who couldn't keep his car off the damn wall. As for saying as for as saying that Forza 2 has a better career mode, are you effing delusional? Forza 2's career mode made me want to puke. Burnout Paradise and PGR4 are great in their own ways, but they can't compare to GT. Unlike other racing series, Gran Turismo just keeps getting better and better. You can't call yourself experts if that simple fact escapes you. Ryan Witten via email. The second annual Sacred Cow barbecue was excellent, but I was wondering if you guys could do me a favor. I know that several ignorant fanboys will not grasp the concept of a roast and they'll cry and send in butthurt responses. Can you please publish some of these nerd tantrums so I and countless others can laugh at them and rejoice that we're not as obtuse as they are? John Carlos. We thought, and this is GI now, we thought the satirical tongue-in-cheek tone was pretty apparent, but let's set the record straight. We adore every game we mentioned in Sacred Cow Barbecue. In fact, almost everyone does. That's why they're sacred cows. They are so revered by the gaming community that they are beyond reproach. So that's naturally makes them perfect targets. Sure, we went a little over the top with our jabs, but it was all in good fun. If you're not open to the possibility that your favorite game might have flaws, it's probably a good time to take back from the line of fanaticism. Okay. Burnt Side of the Apocalypse. I wanted to express to you my deep appreciation for your apparent optimism for Fallout 3. Having been a fan of the series of the past 11 years or so, it's refreshing to see most of your coverage to be positive and optimistic. Too frequently, we fans are lambasted by our own, and it's difficult to get positive word in without feeling as if I'm going to get dipped in the vats for my blasphemy. Brad Bowling via email. It sounds like you've been talking to the wrong kinds of fans. Every series has a small contingent of followers who are convinced the next entry will be terrible. In a kind of warped affection, people never change. They just never effing change. In a kind of warped affection, they love the previous games so much that they come to believe that any deviation from the set standards will spell disaster. In Fallout's case, there's nothing wrong with enjoying the first two classic entries, but no gaming series can improve if it is just repeats the same pattern in every iteration. Deciding to hate a game if you haven't played doesn't show off your refined, discerning taste as a gamer. It makes you look stupid. Working together. This is in response to Paul Sharshin's opinion piece about developers catering to the PvP crowd while overlooking and avoiding co-op. I think that co-op campaigns can be fun, but as mentioned, they require more work, time, and money. You can't blame game developers for not expending their resources on a co-op campaign when a relatively small number of gamers will ever experience it. Nonetheless, co-op in general is very much alive. Counter-Strike, Call of Duty 4, and World at World at Wars, Battlegrounds are all PvP, but very much co-op if you actually want to win. Good luck being one-man army in those games. If you're playing people with an equal skill, why should multiplayer force us to choose between playing with friends and making enemies? Why can't we do both? Jason Wu via Gmail. Okay. Soul Calibur 4. Hmm. Some reader art. Oh boy. I am shocked that someone drew Sora. I'm just shocked about that. Thanks for the article about games losing co-op play. I had only just been talking to my friend about how much better Call of Duty 4 would be if it had co-op, and then I read an article that it's nice to know that I'm not alone. I think it's almost more annoying when games have online co-op only. Isn't the point of co-op so that I can socialize with my friends? I'd much rather have them at my house than send them home so we can play co-op. Nick Glover via Gmail. If there's one thing we learned from the responses to Paul Charchin's opinion piece, it's that gamers expect different things from their multiplayer experiences. Some want online frag fests, others want strategic team combat, and many are bemoaning the lack of split screen co op in many recent releases. In any case, it is hard to deny that it is more fun to play with friends than with strangers. There are more and more gamers who don't care about owning their friends and they just want to have a good time playing games with their buddies. The more ways a game can facilitate that, the better. I don't know about that link, but sure. That's Prince of Persia. Oh boy. Okay. Hey, someone's just really into Marvel. Hell yeah. We got some more readers to read about. At least one more patchwork. Now that home consoles have hard drives, developers can patch a game with a download. Unfortunately, this is being used as a crutch so they don't need to properly test their products. Oh boy. So this conversation just never ends. I don't want to see developers release half finished games to meet a deadline and patch them later, and I don't want to pay later for downloadable content that should have been included in the original release. Are we just doomed to get shafted on content and to wait a few weeks until our games are made playable via patch? Matt Richards. The situation you describe is imagined and doesn't reflect the current reality. Patching console games is now nowhere near an industry-wide epidemic. There have been only a few that have required patches to play properly. In the old days, you would have been stuck with a broken game, but now the developers are able to rectify the issue. As for downloadable content, there is not a single game on the market that was only made complete through the release of DLC. Gamers should be happy that developers are willing to support their games after release rather than fussing about how they are entitled to supplemental content for free. Until the situation gets out of hand, and it isn't even close, you're just complaining about functionality that makes your gaming experience better. Okay. Wow, they have. I think that's the Navy SEALs shoot. E3 LA 2008, the incredible shrinking game convention. Look at Reggie. After a year sabbatical in Santa Monica, E3 returned to familiar confines of the Los Angeles Convention Center. However, the return to a bigger venue did not mean a return to the excess and glitz of shows past. In many ways, this felt like the smallest E3 yet, one marked by the absence of a number of publishers, most notably Activision Blizzard. However, much as it lacked excitement, there were still a few notable announcements and stellar games. While the future of the beleaguered convention is in doubt, we came away from the show with a better idea of what to expect out of the gaming scene over the next 12 months. Read on for the highlights and lowlights of E3 2008. Fallout 3 ad. Here we go. Microsoft moves on multiple fronts: software, stars, and avatars. Last E3, Microsoft didn't act like the platform manufacturer with the largest install base or the best online service. This year, it stepped up the rhetoric. Can we deliver to our fiercely loyal fans and at the same time continue to transform the industry by delivering to everyone? Asked Don Matrick, Senior Vice President of Microsoft's Interactive Entertainment Division. Boy, that's a mouthful. Having established its console in over 10 million American homes, Microsoft's strategy during this E3 press conference was to straddle the fence between hardcore and casual. Spearheaded by a strong foundation of games, the presentation began with demos for Fallout 3, page 36, Resident Evil 5, 37, Fable 2, 86, and Gears of War 2, 78. In impressive succession, while seeing the first playable demo of RE5, including 2-player co-op, no less was cool. Gears of War 2 was arguably the most memorable. Cliff Bleszinski, Epic's design director, showed off a level where Marcus Phoenix and Dom head into a locust sinkhole and encounter a Brumac amidst a constantly crumbling city. As cool as it was to see Marcus use a locust as a human shield for the second year in a row, Microsoft got caught miming to one of their demos. The Gears footage that Bleszinski was supposedly playing in the real time blacked out for a few seconds before looping back to its starting point without a console reset checkpoint load, indicating it was probably a video. Turning away from the bloody chainsaw melees and towards making friends, John Shippert, I assume, corporate vice president for Live's interactive entertainment business, took the stage to officially announce avatars. See sidebar. The Me Like virtual representations are a part of a larger Microsoft initiative called the Xbox New Xbox Experience. Another part of this strategy is Xbox Live Primetime, an exclusive partnership with production company and demo for game shows like Fear Factor and Deal or No Deal that will feature contests with real winnable prizes. The new Xbox experience also includes expandable download TV shows and movies through a partnership with NBC Universal, including the Sci Fi Channel and USA Network, for 700 new programs and an exclusive deal with online movie rental service Netflix. With the new partnership, Netflix members who are Xbox Live members will be able to stream movies from their instant queue and even share their queues and watch movies, including chat with Avatar Party members for free. We suggest you don't do this with John Schipper, otherwise you might be watching All Dogs Go to Heaven, the first movie in his Netflix queue. A big part of Live's experience is games, and Live Arcade was not left out. Galaga Legions is an exclusive Namco title being developed by the team behind Pac-Man World Championships. Sequels Uno Rush and Geometry Wars Retro Evolve 2 also made appearances. Portal Still Alive is a sequel of sorts. This 2008 exclusive features the original game from the Orange Box, as well as new levels and achievements. See this month's Impulse section on page 46 for more. Finally, 2009 will see an exclusive South Park Live title, but nothing was shown of this game. During this casual gaming segment, Microsoft also introduced and demoed Codemasters 360 exclusive You're in the Movies. Oh, I have this and I wanted to try it, but I didn't have a freaking camera for it. I have to buy the stupid Xbox Live camera. They won't let me use a Kinect. It's crazy. Anyway, with Shipper and others acting out the game's movies trailer, making video segments. If you think the height of embarrassment was Don Matrick pretending he's being a clown being pulled backwards by a bungee cord, then you didn't see Duffy's performance. After Lips creator Kaicho Yano, Gutaro Man, introduced the karaoke title, see page 93, the Welsh soul singer took the stage to sing her single Mercy. While she sang the hell out of the song live, not lip synced, the laughs came when afterwards she said, "I don't think I've ever had so much fun singing that song," but surely she had. It was just painfully obvious to everyone there. Despite this, the Microsoft press conference did not go out on a low note. Square president Yoichi Wada ran through the company's 360 efforts, including Infinite Undiscovery and The Last Remnant. After giving way to Matrick, however, Wada returned, interrupting the Microsoft vice president to tell the crowd, "I do have one more big announcement to share." This was the news that Final Fantasy XIII, formerly PS3 exclusive, is coming to Xbox 360. And I'm sure PlayStation 3 fans they handled it so well. I'm sure they were just like, "Oh, that's so cool that Xbox 360 fanboys can play it too." I'm sure that's exactly what they thought. At long last, a day we all have been waiting for has arrived, he said triumphantly. This was one of the few surprises of the press conference, and indeed the whole show. Microsoft's third-party record, a sector in which Microsoft says it generated more money than the third-party revenue created by Wii and PS3 combined, has greatly helped the system. Now the console maker looks to stretch out its mindshare in different directions with the help of expanding Xbox Live. "I'm so confident in our momentum and bright future," Matrick declared early in his presentation, "that I'm willing to declare here today that Xbox 360 will sell more consoles this generation than PlayStation 3. And he was wrong. He was close, but he was wrong. But I kind of want to just take a look back. It looks like they gave Microsoft a B. Report card. Stripping away the company's avatars and more casual strategy, one of the key things that Microsoft did better than Sony was highlight third party games. Fallout 3, Rock Band 2, and Resident Evil 5 are also coming to PS3, but Microsoft has a better stake in these properties. Whether that's by garnering exclusive Fallout 3 DLC, have an exclusive Rock Band 2 launch window, or simply by showing the first co op footage of RE5. Nabbing Final Fantasy XIII is also a major coup. All this demonstrates that despite being in many ways the industry leader, Microsoft is still fighting to grab and maximize its advantage whenever possible. Acute or you? Microsoft introduced its already leaked plan for avatars at E3, and many responded by asking, "Do I have to use them?" The answer is no. You can use your existing gamer picture. Avatars will be introduced with a free Fall Live update, which will redesign the entire dashboard. However, the old Blade system will still be accessible in game by pushing the guide button on your Xbox 360 controller. Players can outfit their avatars with a large selection of clothes and other stylistic accessories. And first and third party games will offer winnable extras for their avatars. Whatever you think about the look of avatars, one of the undoubtedly cool things about them is that you can host 8-player parties of avatars to chat, take them into games, or even share photos or watch movies. Sure, yeah, that's sounds great. Okay. Ooh. Looks like they talked to Phil Spencer, so that'll be kind of interesting. Who was the general manager at the time? Okay. Game Informer. You unveiled the new avatars for Xbox Live and the new menu system. I think that there's a portion of the audience that didn't really think that the Blade system was broken and is not excited about avatars. Is there an option for people that aren't into that, or are you still going to need an avatar? Phil. I'll take a few approaches to that. First of all, people obviously have opinions. In Microsoft Game Studios, we have okay. In Microsoft Game Studios, we have quite a few core gamers. And just look at the games we put out over the generation. The avatars were developed at Rare and were interacting with the platform team. Oh my god, we're interacting with the platform team on features like groups, which is very cool core feature, even if the way we showed it at the press conference was around photo sharing in prime time. Also, the fact that we can install to a disk is a very core feature as well. If the core gamers want their online their online persona to be their gamer tile, they can do that. They are not forced to use the avatar. I will say, and I read the boards, I see the feedback. I'm also betting that when avatars go live, the people that will spend the most time in the creator tweaking their avatars will be the core. That's just my bet. I understand the feedback. Game Informer. Another conspicuous absence was any new project from Bungie. What's the status of your relationship with them? There are rumors they have a project with Electronic Arts and that they are almost announced it. Phil Spencer. First of all, I won't go into details on the business relation terms of our deal. That's a relationship between Bungie and Microsoft. More important for us is our creative future together and the projects we're working on. We didn't have something we wanted to announce now, but we are working very closely with Bungie. I think it's great that for a studio to look at multiple franchises and try to build that. That would be a strength for Bungie if they were to push in that direction. Game Informer. So there are projects ongoing? Absolutely. We continue to work with Bungie on projects. We don't have anything to announce right now, but it is in our future. Game Informer. You announced some exclusive downloadable content for Fallout 3. Is it getting to the point where third parties won't do a game as a console exclusive, so now the battle is for online content? The realities of building AAA games and the cost involved in making it difficult for third party to think about individual console exclusive exclusive oh my god, I'm just going to skip that word. Console exclusivity in perpetual. Okay, come on, man. Like I'm doing my best over here. So in certain cases, you see stuff like windowed exclusive tip. Oh my fucking Christ! I can't read right now. Exclusive DLC. It's great for us that we've had the success rate we've had with things like paid DLC. If you take music category, our partners are telling us that 80% of music downloads are 360 downloads. Those partners see things like DLC and the ongoing relationship between them and their customer as something our platform really supports. So if they want to make that platform exclusive, oh fuck you! Like seriously, I'm sick of saying the fucking word. I need to practice saying the word exclusivity, exclusivity, or part of the 360 experiences for GTA Fallout 3. It feels natural in the 360 ecosystem. No more exclusivity, please. Will the Netflix deal allow you to access every streaming movie on your 360 that you would be able to on your computer? It's access to the full 10,000 films. It's going to evolve over time. Netflix has approximately 100,000 movies that you can rent. Then there's the subset that they've ripped and have streaming on their site. But all the movies they have streaming, depending on the plan you have, are available on the 360. Everything you can stream on your PC will show up on the 360. A Game Informer. When you watch and share movies together in the new 8-person party system on Xbox Live, does everyone have to have a Netflix account? All viewers have to be Netflix users. Game Informer. Are you working on avatar support similar to what Nintendo has done by letting your Miis as playable characters in games? Absolutely. We showed that with Seen It in 1 versus 100, where avatars showed up in the games. We think that relationship between avatars and games, potentially two-way relationship at some point, where games can feed things back to the avatars, is part of our future. Are you providing those tools to third parties? The avatars are in no way first party only thing. Even though we develop them at Rare, it is part of our operating system on the 360 and something we would encourage third parties to use. As a first party, much like back in the day on Live, we did some great early live games like Counter-Strike, Crimson Skies, and Halo. We're going to try to lead the way and show that what can be done with those avatars. But obviously, third parties have their own talented teams that will come up with their own ways of incorporating avatar technologies into their games. Are you looking at selling items for avatars, like, for instance, some Nike shoes or other fashion items? What we announced was that when we launch the avatars, there will be a lot of content for outfitting and stylizing your avatar. If you look forward for the ability for other partners to come in and create different business models around the avatars, I think that's definitely part of the plan there. What happened to the Waggle Motion X360 controller that everyone insisted was being announced at E3 this year? Yeah, I was almost disappointed. He laughs. Was that even in discussions? Was it something you looked at, or is it pure fantasy on the internet? You can imagine that as a first party as a platform team, we're always investing new things that we might want to bring to our platform. We don't raise the profile of all the new things we might look at. Many of the technologies don't pan out, others do. So obviously our plan for E3 has been solid for quite a while, and we weren't surprised by what we showed on stage. I think people I think people speculating about what might come to the platform is healthy. I like the enthusiasm that people have. Even the disappointment shows that people care. So you wouldn't rule out the Waggle in the future. We're always looking at stuff. It's our duty. So there is Waggle. The microphone for lips waggles. You can hit that. That's motion control. You announced the version 1 versus 100 and your deal with Endemol for primetime service. Will there be other games of programming different from the game show style programs? For example, an interactive crime drama. We don't have anything to announce, but we obviously created. Okay. We don't have anything to announce, but we obviously created the primetime brand, and John stood up and just did a good job of detailing how we think about the experience. What is an Xbox tonight? What is on Xbox tonight? We understand that when we create a brand like Primetime and show 1 versus 100, I never got to play that. That always seemed cool. That we need to be committed to steady flow of programming for that experience. There are a ton of opportunities. Okay. Okay, this is Sony. This year's E3 was solid but not jaw-dropping, and Sony's press conference was right in line, featuring a number of key announcements but lacking an uncontested coup de grace over Microsoft E3 2008 found Sony building steam on its three main initiatives, PS3, PSP, and PSN, after a PS3 launch that put the company in the hole. Sony Computer Entertainment of America president and CEO Jack Tretton anchored the press conference like he did last year, providing enough self deprecating humor to make the hour and a half presentation go down relatively easy. Still, Trenton wasn't without teeth, even making a surprising and unverified claim that the PS3 has more exclusives than any other platform with more than 75 titles. Ted Price from Insomniac and Alex Evans from Media Molecule proceeded to show off two of those exclusives with Resistance 2 and Little Big Planet. Respectively, check out pages 44 and 38 for more on both. While Resistance showed off a scripted 40 gameplay While Resistance showed off a scripted gameplay sequence involving a 40-story chimera Leviathan, Evans used a cutely designed Little Big Planet level to demonstrate Sony's facts and figures portion of the event. As Little Big Planet's Sackboy wearing a Boston Celtics jersey at Trenton's insistence. Jump to activate bar graphs and pulled switches to unfurl Sony stats. Trenton narrated and declaring through that May before receiving 400 I don't care about the number, spike courtesy of the Metal Gear Solid 4 PS3 bundles in June. The PS3 had sold 1.8 million units in America. The PSP and PS2, meanwhile, posted 1.6 and 1.5 million figures, respectively, over the same period. On the software front, Sony hopes to spur the PS3 further with a greatest hits program, announcing its first 10 titles, including Resistance Fall of Man, Warhawk Sun's Headset, Rainbow Six Vegas, Assassin's Creed, The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, and others for $29.99. After highlighting 130 new titles planned for the continuing juggernaut that is the PS2, Trenton turned his attention to the PlayStation Network. This is clearly a space Sony hopes to make waves in, but in going up against Microsoft's Xbox Live, Sony better have big plans. Apart from Home, which showed off its Home, which showed off its game specific spaces such as the Uncharted bar, but still doesn't have a release date. The company is also working on multiple PSN fronts. Ratchet and Clank Future Quest for Booty is a standalone downloadable PSN adventure out this summer for $14.99. See page 47. I played that. I like it. Gran Turismo TV enabled via Gran Turismo 5 Prologue is getting TV shows and even live races. Life with PlayStation is a free service available at the end of the month that offers worldwide news and weather on your PlayStation 3. The crowd applauded when Sony revealed that it was throwing the switch on its previous delayed offering of downloadable movies and TV shows for rental or purchase. The night of the press conference. Okay. Sandwiched in between, I don't care about that stuff. I mean, I understand like it's kind of like a big deal at the time, but like at this point, it's like it's kind of interesting that like okay, so in 2008 September or like summer of 2008 is when we were finally getting to watch movies and stuff on these consoles. So I guess that is kind of interesting. Anyway, sandwiched in between hardware announcements regarding a new PSP bundle and a quasi price drop for the 80 gigabyte PS3, see sidebar, Trenton brought the presentation back to software. This year and next, PSP will see Resistance Retribution, Loco Roco 2, Patapon 2, Super Stardust Portable, and third-party titles like Star Wars The Force Unleashed. The PS3, meanwhile, will be home to a number of multi-platform third-party titles, and Sony also brought out its Chain Blades to show that it meant business. A teaser trailer for God of War 3 showed that Kratos is still deadly, and that the PS3 has plenty of life left in it. Also making the case for the console were two other first-party titles, DC Universe Online, a PS3 PC title from Sony Online, see page 85, and MAG, see sidebar. Trenton ended the press conference as he began it by talking about PS3's software timeline in comparison to the PS2, and PS1. Trenton preached a message of patience, pointing out that if you compare where the PS3 is in its life 2 years old and to the PS2 at the same juncture, like some of that system's best games like GTA San Andreas were still 2 years away. While reassuring, its intangible message of hope was an odd way to end an otherwise solid press conference. The best may yet to come, but this is still the same sentiment that has slowed the PS3's growth thus far. Okay. Massive multiplayer. We were curious why Zipper Interactive wasn't handling SOCOM Confrontation, and now we know why. MAG, representing the horrible acronym Massive Action Game, features 256 player online battles where players are broken up into 8-player squads. The game's unremarkable trailers showed way less than 256 players, but Sony also announced that the game features a command system, character classes, growth, ongoing faction campaigns, and other standard squad-based multiplayer amenities. Report card. Sony's God of War 3 premiere was certainly welcome. Nobody, after all, is going to call Kratos a lightweight. But with the first-party software, there's always an air of inevitability that undercuts the announcement. On the other hand, the third-party deals like Microsoft nabbing Final Fantasy XIII have an inherent shock value in these days of the dwindling third-party exclusives. While the press conference was short on shocking announcements, Sony made some moves to help itself out in the short and long term. So just some new models, and Shuhei Yoshida we get to read. So that's who they interviewed here. Just 1 second. I just want to take a quick break. Okay, and I'm back. Let's get back into this. Do you have any philosophical differences with the previous head of Sony Worldwide Studios, Phil Harrison? I don't think we have philosophical differences, but he was more pushing for that vision. Yeah, let's go for the mass market. Let's make the game simple, easy, and fun from a European standpoint. And we were more. I was head of the U.S. development, more focused on conventional core gamers games. I think that reflection of the market itself, as you know, the European market is very similar but different. They are more towards mass audience and games based on movies, which do much better over there. It kind of worked well when European studios were focusing on more casual audience and US studios focusing on the core audience because we release both titles in both territories. That's interesting. I never. So wait, it like, are they saying like, huh? That's very interesting. It seems that Western development has taken over in terms of importance from Japanese game development. Do you believe that that is true? I totally believe it. Believed means meaning. I want I want to the state. I went to the States 8 years ago. Before that, I was in Japan. As a Japanese person, I'm very proud of the fact that in the video game industry, people in Japan are able to send a message through the game's contents. It's one of the cultural things. So when I moved here, I put myself a challenge. Let's work here with developers in the states to really make something better than Japanese guys. I used to run the I used to run to the Nintendo booth every year at E3 to see what Miyamoto-san was doing. But after a couple of years, we kind of stopped doing it. We kind of lost interest. We started not to seek inspiration from Japanese developers because there are so many great things happening in the States and Europe as well. When you join a company in Japan, you tend to stay with that company for a long time. That makes the know how knowledge base very fragmented and not shared. So I totally believe technologically and in some gameplay, engineering, or polish matters that we in the US and European development are on par with or exceed in many regards the Japanese industry. However, that was until the Wii came along. So we still have things to learn from the Japanese industry, I guess. How is Sony's PS3 third-party tools support going, and do you think third parties are on equal footing with first parties? They struggled initially because of their focus on getting the game up and running on the Xbox 360, and they completely underestimated the efforts that it would take to move the game to the PS3 because of the different architecture. Thankfully, since the end of the last year and especially this year, more and more games came out on the PS3 and Xbox 360 on the same day and the quality comparable. Going forward, I expect third-party titles to not only just be equal, but some titles will have more content because of the space that's available on the Blu-ray disc or hard drive, which is installed on all PS3s. Ooh, that's a little jab. So I've been saying that this year is the year that. Okay, so I've been saying that this year is the year of parity for third party titles, and next year will be the year of differentiation on the PS3. Do you think Do you think that above and beyond factor with the PS3 will still happen when many companies still see the Xbox 360 SKU as the lead SKU? I think one thing from publishers and developers they are doing is to shift from making Xbox or from making 360 the lead SKU to making simultaneous development on both PS3 and 360. And talking with some industry friends in third party publishers, that's exactly what they are doing. What is your opinion on Square bringing the formerly Sony exclusive Final Fantasy 13 to the Xbox 360? From a business point standpoint, that's something that people have expected because of the effort it takes to make a big title like that. They have pressure from stockholders to recoup as much money as possible, but I'm curious how they will do a Final Fantasy game on the 360. They might have to do a three or four disc set. And personally, I was the account manager for Squaresoft when they started working on Final Fantasy 7, so I have some personal attachment to that franchise and that team. So after 12 years, I think the industry is moving. During the press conference, during the Sony press conference, Jack Tretton preached a message of patience when it comes to some gamers wanting more high quality games on the PS3. What do you say to those whose point to the Xbox 360 as having more of those experiences already? It's always the case that towards the end of a generation, the best games come out because developers are more and more comfortable working on the technology, and they can focus on making games better and better. That's what Jack is saying, and with the fact that we have knowledge of what is in development, and we didn't even announce some teams. Some of them haven't even released a PS3 game yet. How about the Ico Shadow Colossus team and what they are working on? That's one of the things I was alluding to in terms of teams we have that have not released anything on the PS3 yet. They are very hard at work, and if you remember, Ico came out in 2001. That took them 4 years to build, and Shadow Colossus came out in 2005. So I named them the Olympic team. You shouldn't expect anything quick from that team. Ude-san, Ico, and Colossus creator Fumito Ueda is a perfectionist. Only he can decide what is to show, when to show, and even though some say, yeah, this is good enough, let's announce it, he'll say, no, no, no. So hopefully when we show something from them, you will like it. Previously, you said that you hoped more third-party developers would see the PSP as an attractive platform for their games. How would you think that they perceive the PSP, and what has to change in that perception for them to put out more PSP games? I think it's more of a publisher decision that's driving the platform choice than developer. Because of the success of the Nintendo Wii and DS, casual gaming, and the entire growth of the industry, including iPhone, there are more viable platforms than a publisher can afford. So they have to make choices of where to put their eggs. And the PSP is in a unique situation. It really requires development. It really requires focused development. You cannot just develop one game and port it to the PSP. I really want our third-party relations groups to have efforts to talk to third-party publishers to explain how some of the IPs they have really would be perfect for the PSP. I think that the realization is happening in Japan first, and more Japanese publishers I hear are moving more and more resources to the PSP. I hope that will inspire more US and European publishers as well. With home life with PlayStation and downloadable TV shows, movies, Sony is clearly giving the PS3 more services. What more about those would you what more about those would want more games and not services? What about those would who what about but what about those who want more games and not services? I can't believe it took me that long to process that. As far as Worldwide Studios is concerned, our primary focus is games. How to advance games, and we have lots of work we have to do in terms of how we use the connected console. We have more work than we can possibly do. So that's definitely our focus, to bring something really new and interesting to the game players. Ooh. These interviews, I don't know why they're tough for me. Got another one. Okay. Nintendo press conferences have traditionally been celebratory events. Over the years, the company's faithful fans have been dependably animated as we witness historic unveilings of consoles, games, and more consoles, games, and more than a few duds. Remember GBA GameCube connectivity, Project Hammer? While Sony and Microsoft puff out their chests amid futuristic sets, giant video displays, and pounding dance music, only Nintendo can reduce members of its audience to tears, yes, real tears, by debuting footage from a Legend of Zelda title. A lot has changed for Nintendo in the last 2 years. After years of chasing Sony's juggernaut PlayStation's franchise, the the breakout success of the Wii has established Nintendo as the world's number one home console manufacturer. This phenomenon, coupled with the seemingly indestructible Nintendo DS, has the company enjoying its strongest commercial success in recent memory. Things are good, no doubt. So why did this seem like the most awkward, ineffective Nintendo press conference in E3 history? The reaction to this press conference has been fairly poisonous. There's little doubt why. We've certainly accused of Nintendo of being out of touch with what? Nintendo being out of touch? No. We certainly accuse Nintendo of being out of touch with reality in the past. But this is the first time they've seemed genuinely out of touch with their notoriously loyal fans. If past conferences were famous for such lines as I'm about kicking ass and taking names, perhaps it's not surprising that Nintendo's new casual-oriented approach and promise to put more smiles on more faces didn't resonate with the assembled press in the Kodak Theater. Nintendo briefing started off with the new vice president of marketing, Cami Dunaway, formerly a Yahoo and Frito-Lay, who kicked off the event with an overly ecstatic story about breaking her wrist snowboarding and a letter from her son of somewhat questionable authenticity. Of course, this was a perfect opportunity to segue into a live demonstration by her friend, pro snowboarder Shaun White, who emerged from a metal cylinder to show off his new Ubisoft snowboarding game, which looks to make decent use of the Wii Fit balance board. Next up was Nintendo head Satoru Iwata, who expounded on what the company's views as a new paradigm for the game industry. The paradigm naturally is one of where new types of consumers are drawn into gaming, not by graphics, but through innovative experiences, fun for everyone games, and handful of evergreen titles that sell year after year. Does that sound like a company you know? While it's clear that Nintendo's new strategy has been phenomenal success, even Iwata joked that Nintendo employees would not have believed they would be selling millions of bathroom scales, a sly jab at Wii Fit. The bigger question for gamers who've long since finished Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart remains, what games will be making us pull our Wii's out of the mouthballs for the rest of the year? Sadly, that question went largely unanswered. Following Iwata was a presentation on the long-awaited new Animal Crossing, City Folk, see page 80, which utilizes a new Wii microphone called WiiSpeak. By allowing roomfuls of people to speak to each other over the internet. The peripheral should add to the community building functions of this new Animal Crossing. However, aside from this new feature and few online tweaks, City Folk doesn't look like a large step forward for the series as a whole. Sharing many characteristics with past titles, even worse, Nintendo's success with the Virtual Console means unlockable NES games at one of our favorite features from the past games are a no-show. Perennial fan favorite Reggie Fils-Aimé then took the stage and treated the crowd to a series of graphs and slides demonstrating just how successful both Wii and DS have been in the last year. It was easy to be impressed, especially when Fils-Aimé predicted the Wii would likely be the top-selling home console in the US by month's end, ousting the Xbox 360. Fils-Aimé also touted the Wii's increasing third-party software support and sales, citing 19 non-Nintendo Wii titles that have reached the 400,000 mark in the US. To illustrate this point, he also showed a trio of new Wii titles, including a Zapper compatible Call of Duty game, Star Wars Clone Wars Lightsaber Saber Duels, page 92, animated feature, and Rayman Raving Rabbids TV Party. From here, it was back to Nintendo's traditional strong suit, the handheld market. Cammie Dunaway returned to the stage to tout companies' growing DS sales among females and the breakout first success of Guitar Hero on Tour. She then introduced new Pokemon titles and Spore Creatures, a DS spin-off of the fall's most anticipated game. She also engaged in a little speculation talking about how Nintendo is researching ways of using the DS to deliver travel information, baseball scores, which is already being tested at Safeco Field in Seattle, and as an electronic cookbook in a port of the Japanese title slated to be released in English this fall. And perhaps the biggest news for hardcore gamers, she also unveiled a logo of Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars, a DS exclusive title by Rockstar. Next up was the other big announcement, Wii Motion Plus, an attachment for the Wii remote that uses a small gyroscope to help the remote achieve a true one-to-one motion tracking scheduled for spring 2009. The unit comes packaged with Wii Sports Resort, which was demonstrated in the form of quick frisbee, jet skiing, and sword fighting minigame demonstration. As the event wound down, the crowd started to anticipate the not surprising surprise appearance by Miyamoto where he shows us something actually cool. Part of every Nintendo press conference. Well, at least the first half of that statement came to pass. Miyamoto appeared after a butchered drum solo by some dork in a faux hawk named Ravi Drums. The best results were less than expected. The legendary creator was here not to show off Kid Icarus, as he been rumored, but Wii music. See page 95 for more. A music experience that allows up to 4 players to create an unholy racket by miming the motions of playing one of over 50 instruments. It's not a game per se, but it did provide some of the biggest laughs of the show, especially the ending number where Miyamoto, some unidentified Nintendo employees, and VP of Corporate Affairs Denise Kegler butchered the familiar Mario theme. This demonstrated what we soon found out for ourselves. This game plays very poorly and inaccurately. For Nintendo stalwarts looking for a AAA game announcement, this was a huge disappointment in keeping with the conference as a whole. Okay, their report card, it's not great. I just need to take a quick breather. Okay. For longtime observers, Nintendo's showing was baffling. While the company is hitting on all cylinders in terms of sales and profits, the magazine is called Game Informer, not Quarterly Financial Reports Informer. Simply put, there just wasn't much to latch onto for most traditional Nintendo fans, especially since two of the biggest announcements, Wii Music and Animal Crossing City Folk, aren't technically quote-unquote games at all. While We Speak and Motion Plus certainly look promising, they also come with their own price tags, and most third parties we spoke to had no idea they were being released until the press conference, causing us to wonder if these will suffer from a lack of software support. While GTA and Spore for DS are nice, it was a mistake to exclude promising Wii titles like Sega's Mad World and the new Pikmin game from the press conference. While we don't doubt that the company will continue to sell as many Wiis and DS units as it can manufacture, There isn't much for devoted Wii gamers to look forward to for the remainder of this year. Final grade, a D. Yeah, I could see this. I think this was probably the low point for just like the Wii and like the E3, and because like the next year they were like, oh, we need to focus on making actual games. So this just kind of goes into the peripherals. Nintendo introduces new peripherals. While game announcements were a bit sparse, a couple new Wii peripherals caused some excitement at the Wii. Okay, so this is just talking about the Wii Speak and everything. God, Wii Speak. One more interview. I don't know why these interviews are tough. One of your big announcements was the We Speak microphone for Animal Crossing City Folk. Will that be packed in with the game? It will be sold separately for $29.99. The reason being is that Animal Crossing can be a wonderful experience just playing and enjoying the customization and calendar features. So community is a huge enhancement, but it is not a necessity for playing the game. But for people that like to play with friends, the We Speak enables a room of people in one place with a room of people in another place. We think it's a really exciting piece of innovation. When you buy it separately, will it work with other Nintendo titles? That's our hope. Future Nintendo titles and third-party titles will use this technology. Packing in Wii Play with your controllers has been extremely successful, as was including PictoChat functionality in the DS. Will you include any software that demonstrates how Wii Speak works with the hardware, even a simple chat program? We're still working through some of those issues, but there's nothing. We're still working through some of those issues, but there's nothing I can announce. But those definitely are conversations. Would it be fair to say that it will have some functionality outside of the box aside from the okay. Would it be fair to say that it will have some functionality out of the box aside from just its use in Animal Crossing? I don't want to commit to that, but it will be day and date with Animal Crossing and merchandised and promoted with Animal Crossing. We've slowly started to see third parties using Mii's in games. Are you working with them to allow them to use We Speak in their games? Absolutely. We're always talking to third parties about ways they can use the full set of tools we have. A good example was last year when we announced Wii Fit and the balance board. As you said, Namco came out with Wii Ski at the same time we released the Wii Fit. At this show, we announced Shaun White Snowboarding, which was designed exclusively to use the balance board. You saw the new Rayman game where you're using the balance board by sitting on it and steering that way. It's the same thing with the Zapper, and now Call of Duty is using the Zapper. So third parties are definitely picking up on that stuff. So I'm assuming third parties have been aware of the We Speak for some time. It varies depending on the peripheral and the third party. It's really a case by case basis on how and what we disclose. But the nice thing about We Speak and Motion Plus is that it's not coming out until next spring next year. So even now there's time for third parties to jump on. And boy did they not. They did not. Your background is with Yahoo. Yes, I was Yes, I was 13 years at Frito-Lay in a bunch of different sales and marketing jobs, then 5 years as a chief marketing officer of Yahoo. Because of your background at Yahoo, I am interested to hear your opinion on Nintendo Wii's internet program. Microsoft and Sony have very ambitious internet plans that are very front and center in terms of how they market their consoles. It would seem that it would be hard to argue that Nintendo's online is as good as Xbox Live. Well, there are a couple things we're doing in the online space that I'm pretty excited about. Following the success of the virtual console, we announced WiiWare this year. WiiWare is really designed to enable new developers to have access to all consumers that have Wii. There's so much creativity, lower development cost games priced as low as $5 to be sold through downloads. Right now, if you look at the lineup of games on WiiWare, which is only 8 weeks on the market, is pretty nice range of titles from Defend Your Castle to Major League Eating to Lost Winds and then Pokemon. I can't believe I just said Pokemon. Pokemon Ranch. We also recently announced the Nintendo channel. We're programming this channel just like you'd program a TV show, a television show. We're featuring trailers, interviews with developers. We're doing some original content. We're putting up DS demos for download. All of this is designed to deepen the engagement with the audience. We've brought in all these new users and we want them buying more and more software and more software and more peripherals. One thing we've noticed downloading WiiWare games at the office is that there's no way you're going to be able to get much more than a dozen games on your system, given the amount of memory available. Something has to give. Are you looking at new hardware or even server-side solutions for this problem? I hear you, but we don't have storage announcements to make right now. I know at my house because we pretty much Okay. I know at my house because we buy pretty much everything that's new on WeWare every week. Oh my God. What I found with my own behavior is that we want to play what's new, and so we buy what's new. We delete something we haven't played in a while, knowing that if we want to go back and if we want to go back, we get it and we won't have to pay it again. So that's the way that a lot of consumers are managing it. Uh, so you could only have like 3 WiiWare games. Oh my God, that's so sad. They did fix it. They did fix that problem, but that's crazy. But that seems far from ideal. Are there other solutions being looked at? It's just not something I'm prepared to comment on. I keep doing that. Mr. Iwata talked about a paradigm shift in the games market at the media briefing. As compared to other years, Nintendo seemed extremely focused on new casual audience you've been tapping into. For our audience, core gamers, there was very little to latch on. What kind of stuff is in the pipeline for them? I hope you can help us in communicating to the core gamer that we absolutely committed to them. As Mr. Iwata mentioned, the Mario and Zelda teams are actively working on games. Mr. Miyamoto announced last year that Pikmin is coming, but Nintendo's policy is that we don't announce games until we're very confident that we're getting close enough. We don't release things until they are amazing. So for this show, we weren't going to talk about that stuff. That wasn't really about that wasn't ready to be talked about. Okay, so they just weren't going to talk about what they felt like wasn't ready. And it seems like they did want to focus on the casual, and it blew up in their face. So there's more content, so there's more out there. The commitment is there, and certainly we want people to try out Wii Music, for example, because you have to put aside the conventional way you think about video games. First, you should recognize that Mr. Miyamoto sees something in this that is probably at least worth a second look. The fact that it enables you to completely unconstrained in your the fact that it enables you to be completely unconstrained in your creativity and your collaboration and improvisation again. Wow, this is some serious bullshit that she's flinging right now. Again, represents a new paradigm, but it can be quite a bit of a challenge in mastery. The one thing I hope the core gaming audience will realize is that we all benefit from a really vibrant gaming industry. That is not wrong. Wii Music is not vibrant. So there's that. I've never heard of this. The top 25 at E3. Okay, so I'm only going to get through the first 9. Cool. Top 25 of E3. Never mind the press conferences. E3 is about games first, and there were some jaw-dropping titles this year. Our picks for the top 25 games of the show follow and include updated looks at some excellent games we've seen before. And no, we didn't just copy the Spore and Killzone 2 entries from the last few years. as well as some fantastic new titles shown off for the first time. Don't sweat the exclusion of blockbusters like Diablo 3 and Batman Arkham Asylum, only games that were at E3 in a playable form or live demonstrations were considered for inclusion in this list. Left 4 Dead. What it is, apocalyptic zombie survival horror with the most ingenious co-op mechanics in an action-based first-person shooter to date. Nothing kills you in this intense adventure as quickly as straying from the group or not working together. Yeah, this was a neat, definitely a neat co-op game. I've played it on the Xbox 360. It is like very competent shooter. I'm just not a huge like zombie guy, but I will have to play this again. But anyway, why it's hot. Valve's legendary Polish oh my god. Why it's hot. Valve's legendary polish takes a solid concept and elevates it to massive heights. Every moment in Left 4 Dead is a struggle to maintain awareness and keep the zombies off you and your friends, thanks to the clever dynamic spawn system and outstanding cooperative mechanics. How it stacks up. This is the game of the show for a reason. Yes, it's an FPS, but this takes on the genre unlike anything we've seen before. The exquisitely crafted gameplay called the strangers we left. Okay, the exquisitely crafted gameplay gelled the three strangers we played Left 4 Dead with E3 and into a cohesive group within minutes. That's how strongly the game encourages cooperation. It is notable that I didn't play it co-op. I just kind of played it single player. But that's how I kind of play games. So Gears of War 2, what it is. The sequel to the 360's first blockbuster ups the ante in every imaginable way. The story of Marcus Phoenix and the rest of Delta Squad marches on as they strike back against the Locust Horde that destroyed their homes and families. I love the Gears of War series. Why it's hot. It's easy to be so overwhelmed by the awesome graphics in Gears of War 2 that you don't notice the number of new features, weapons, enemies, and vehicles. Once you pick your jaw off the floor, Gears of War 2 reveals itself as a profound leap forward from its impressive predecessor with a more mature single-player campaign and cool multiplayer modes like the 5-player cooperative Horde, where players tackle increasingly dangerous waves of locusts. How it stacks up. Action gamers who own a 360 will be playing this game this holiday, and with good reason. Few games can offer comparable visual fidelity, and no title we've played is as explosive and intense. Fallout 3. The role-playing classic receives a total makeover by the talented development team behind the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. Emerging from generations in the Fallout shelter, the players guide their survivor into the wasteland of post-apocalyptic Washington, D.C. From the ruined husks of long-destroyed buildings to the dark sense of humor the series is known for, Bethesda has crafted the most believable and disturbing vision of a post-nuclear America yet seen in the medium. How it stacks up. While we haven't played through the final version, it's hard to imagine that this won't be a contender for Game of the Year. We've observed the remarkable vision for the world. What remains to be seen is whether the dozens of quests and gameplay will hold our rapt attention. I wasn't as huge on Fallout 3, but I definitely need to give it a way better chance. Resident Evil 5. The fifth entry in Capcom's flagship survival horror franchise promises to address a few unanswered questions about the origins of certain zombifying virus. The game also turns horror on its head as it explores the terrifying aspects of simple things like heat and sunlight. Why it's hot. Chris's new partner finally has a name, Sheva. However, the big news here isn't her name, it's what she's bringing to the gameplay. Players can tackle the entire story mode online with a friend. The action has been designed around this mechanic, requiring players to split up at key points to accomplish independent tasks that will help the team progress. How it stacks up. Like Resident Evil 4, the game is a horror-filled graphical powerhouse. We expect to be sweating bullets during the whole month of March. I I liked Resident Evil 5 until I got to a certain point, and then I got very frustrated in the final boss. So I need to give it another chance, and hopefully I like it more the second time. I did mess up on the final boss at one point. But anyway, Guitar Hero World Tour. What it is, the music genre, the music game giant follows into the footsteps of oh my god. Okay. The music game giant follows in the footsteps of its competitor Rock Band in delivering a full band experience. Not content to emulate without innovation, Neversoft has added a wealth of new features to flesh out the already engrossing music genre, the music game phenomenon. Why it's hot. A music creator allows gamers to compose their own musical tracks and share them across the internet. New guitars and amazing drum kit offer functionality never seen in the genre. There are even massive online band battles for those looking for a competitive angle. How it stacks up. Both big music games had a remarkable show this year, but Guitar Hero World Tour garnered more buzz with its wealth of new features. Rock Band 2 may already have a profound head start on the available music library, but World Tour's explosive feature set may make it the music game to beat this holiday season. It did not. I think Rock Band ultimately is the better of the two, but like I do need to give Guitar Hero way more of a chance. I haven't played it since I was in high school, so I look forward to getting into those music games. Like that is a huge aspect of this generation that I haven't even touched yet. There's so much for me to play. Fable 2. What it is, Lionhead Studios and Peter Molyneux follow up on the epic hero tale of Fable. Set 500 years after the event of the first game, players once again create and customize a hero to become a savior or a scourge by interacting with the world and its inhabitants. Why it's hot. You'll have a chance to show off the results of your choices by inviting a friend to play co-op in your world, either through online or split screen. You complete quests together or just mess around in town. The combat and music systems have received an overhaul, allowing for fights with a more natural flow than before. How it stacks up. In many ways, Fable 2 is what the original Fable was supposed to be. The first game was great in its own right, but many fans felt burned by unfulfilled promises. What, a Peter Molyneux game with unfulfilled promises? Now Lionhead is deliver Now Lionhead is delivering a wealth of interactions that make the simulation deeper than ever, a vast array of options that give the game seemingly limitless potential. I played about 10 hours of Fable 2 and fell off. It's not bad. I will play it again and I'll try to give it way more of a shot with this. But it's just not like I'm not a huge fantasy guy, so it's hard for me to get into that one. And this will be the last page I read today. Prince of Persia. I played this. I have this on PS3. What it is, out with the old and in with the new. With the Sands of Time trilogy completed, the studio behind Assassin's Creed is crafting a brand new Prince adventure. This is a very like cinematic, even the combat and the flow. It's very different than any other Prince of Persia game. Ooh. Why it's hot. Prince of Persia amazed E3 visitors this year with its dramatically reimagined gameplay and illustrative art style and music. Platforming options have increased exponentially with the inclusion of multiple paths through the open game world. Non-linear storytelling is occasionally interrupted by deadly one-on-one duels. Throughout the tale that unfolds, an alluring and mysterious female companion named Elika accompanies the prince, weaving magic to help strike down foes and save the prince from death. How it stacks up. Since Assassin's Creed has fully embraced its roots in realism, Ubisoft Montreal has launched its other hero, the Prince, into a sprawling epic of fantasy and magic. No other platformer comes close to matching the innovative ideas on display. Little Big Planet. Media Molecule's stylish do-it-yourself platformer challenges players with over 50 impressive levels and then urges you to create your own experiences and share them with other gamers online. Oh, so when I play this, there's 50 levels for me to play. That's cool. Why it's hot. Little Big Planet melds lovable characters with interesting challenges, humorous death sequences, and cooperative multiplayer to create our most anticipated platformer since Super Mario Galaxy. By finding fluff in each level, you can increase the amount of items at your disposal in the unique create mode. Users can even put Easter eggs into their levels to award savvy players with user-created contraptions. How it stacks up. This wildly original title has limitless replay with its 4-player cooperative mode and the expansive social sharing ecosystem. With the number of traditional platforming titles dwindling, Little Big Planet may be the shot in the arm that brings the genre back to prominence. I don't know if it brings it back to prominence, but this definitely like is a precursor to Mario Maker. I'm not saying like Nintendo necessarily like stole it, but like kind of did. Made it way better, I will say that. End War. Uh, I think this is technically like Tom Clancy's The End War or something like that. But anyway, what it is, a new approach to real-time strategy set in a near post-oil world war who needs a mouse and keyboard when you can use voice commands to lead your troops into battle. I have played this. I had to use like a headset or something. I can't remember how I did it. No, I think I used the Rock Band. I did. I used my Rock Band microphone. Why it's hot. Lacking bases and economy, End War hangs its hat on fast tactical battles and an unmatched presentation. Nearly flawless voice control in units that make their own micro level decisions let players spend their time controlling the big picture without all the frustration of previous console RTS. How it stacks up. The sheer fun of diving into lightning quick action and staying out of a fluid battle system across multiple fronts overshadows some minor concerns about Endwar's strategic depth. Details on the ambitious, persistent world online multiplayer can't come soon enough. Okay. So that is where I am going to call it for today. Yeah, this has already been an hour and a half, so it was a good chunky episode. So I want to thank you for watching. Oh, look at Biscuit. Nope. And Biscuit is out cold. Anyway, I want to thank you for watching. I will be back tomorrow with episode 2 of this Game Informer magazine. Thank you for watching.